You're still listening to Breakfast Connect here on Africa Business Radio. It's been 4 days since Americans went to the polls. They and the rest of the world are still waiting for the announcement of who will be in the White House for the next 4 years and who will be leading the free world, as they say, and of course the world's leading and largest economy. So on the segment now on the show, we'll be looking at the numbers, and I've got someone on the line to help me make sense of all of this and to join me along the discussion. His name is Gbenga Taylor. Mr. Taylor is a development policy analyst, research and practicing land surveyor. He is a labor leader as well and the current program coordinator of a civic engagement platform tagged My Vote Counts, which is a social initiative that supports transparency, accountability in Southwest Nigeria and electoral processes across the sub-African region. Mr. Taylor, welcome to Breakfast Connect.
Good morning, listeners. Good morning, Africa. Thank you for having me on the platform.
Okay, so we're going to look at the numbers behind the American election. And, I was doing some research, and it showed that the Biden campaign raised a little under $800 million for this election. They outspent the Trump campaigns $600 million. They spent more than the incumbent billionaire president. So combine those two figures, it comes to about $1.4 billion. And it makes it the most expensive election in U.S. campaigning in this history. The numbers could be more than this because the figures are still being computed. So it actually could be more than this. Now, my question is, in a social, at a time when, we, people are trying to be conservative because, we think things are, the wheels of the economy are not moving as they should be. Campaigns were socially distanced. They didn't have the same amount of crowd, which means that they didn't have to spend as much money as they usually spend to get halls. The Trump campaign were doing their campaigns in open air, in a hangar. The Biden campaign, a few people meeting in places. A lot of the money was spent on television and virtual ads. So how did they end up spending this much amount of money?
Okay. Like you rightly noted, this has really mobilized greater amount of money. In fact, to put it in context, the presidential campaign alone, from my own research end here, the entire presidential campaign starting from the primaries. Yeah. In fact, the figure as at yesterday is $6.6 billion.
Fantastic.
Dollars.
Yeah.
And for congressional races comprising of the Senate and the representatives is about $7.4 billion. So the total money that has been raised for this entire electionary process that we are having in the US is about $14 billion. Now to your question, why during this period of there is no physical contacts, social distancing is being and is on the radar that money is being spent this way. First and foremost, we need to realize that this is high-stake election in US. It is very, very competitive and crowded, especially on the part of the Democrats. You will realize if you go back a little bit, about 24 people, almost 2 dozen people contested for the, to be the nominee for the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
So this is part of the reason why we have this kind of money, you understand, coming in. If you go into the amount of money raised by the like of, Mike Bloomberg, Tom Silver, Benny Marcos, You understand? And it has to be for the Democrats, considering the number of people that came up wanting to contest. Then number 2 is the quest to unseat President Trump at all costs in cost. You understand?
Yeah.
Informed people donating heavily. We must not lose sight of the fact that this money that we are talking about came from donors.
Donors, yes.
Including small donors. You understand? And it shows us that people actually wanted a sort of change. You understand? So then, like you rightly noted, the payment for TV ads for the presidential election alone, it has got over $1.6 billion. TV ad alone. You understand? And this is the reason is that since you cannot hold, you understand, the regular town hall meetings because of the pandemic. You understand? Then the TV, most of the money, you understand, we have to go into the TV, into the digital ads, social media, the Facebook, or like Twitter. You understand? Twitter backed out from receiving ads. At least from the statistics that I have, Google and Facebook alone, you understand, they received several millions in ads. So these things are the things that inform the kind of spending. And also, we must also realize that the pandemic has also affected prices of goods. You understand? So the normal amount of that we normally pay before the COVID issue has moved on. And don't let us shy away the fact that there are still movements.
Yeah.
The candidates will still need to move. Let me just cite an example. You understand? I had a friend that was in country. You understand? And he got his ticket, wanted to go back to UK. Before the lockdown, which was around 300,000, 400,000 naira.
Yeah. But he was making some big, huge points. And, you cannot but agree with him. It's such a huge conversation. We're still going to look at how all these monies tie into the American economy. We're going to put these monies into context. What does $1 billion mean, to the Nigerian economy as against, how it was spent to Africa, in aid and all of that, and how all of these monies, were spent during the American election. It's still Breakfast Connect here on Africa Business Radio. We're taking a quick break. We will be right back.
Listening to Africa Business Radio, where you get up-to-date insight on Africa business landscape. Log on to www.africabusinessradio.com. Your favorite shows are available as podcasts. Download them on our website and mobile app. Africa Business Radio, towards a profitable Africa.
All right, we are back from that break. It's still Africa Business Radio. We still have Mr. Gbenga Taylor on the line. Good morning, Mr. Taylor.
Good morning, Mr. Bimbo.
All right. So we were saying earlier about the monies spent during the American election, and you were telling us a story about someone who was paying above and beyond in air tickets.
Yes. Okay. So what I'm saying is that this lockdown, in a way, has affected the prices of goods and services. So if ordinary citizen, like times 3, times 4 for ticketing, the same, you understand?
Yeah. We
apply to candidates. So that's the analogy I'm trying to do. So all this affected, the kind of money that is being expended. So I think, can I stop there? So that
yeah. So the monies raised kind of exceeds the budget of some states in Nigeria. The money spent, clearly, the figures I gave earlier were monies raised towards the end or closer towards the election by both campaigns for Biden and Obama alone.
Good.
So, and if you take that amount alone at about 1.4 billion, it exceeds the budget of Lagos State in 2015. If we go by, the 6 billion or thereabout, you gave us during your research, it, comes even closer to Nigeria's budget for an entire year at some point. So, what does that tell you? That the budget of an entire nation was, spent for the presidential election of the United States.
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, let us realize the fact that USA as a country is about 12 times the size of Nigeria in terms of land mass. Let us also understand that USA is about 332.6 million people compared to 150 million people that we have in Nigeria. Let us also understand that the entire economy of California alone, I'm talking about states in the United States of America, has been adjudged to be the third largest economy in the world. Meaning that if California is to be standing as a country like Nigeria, its economy will be ranking at par with that of Germany and UK combined. So, and the last point I would like to tie before I tie all this together is that it shows the level of the vibrancy of the American economy. Meaning that Americans have enough disposable or what we call discretionary income to give, which we don't have. Because don't forget, this money that we are talking about were raised from citizens. So it talks up. If we tie all these things together, it goes to show that Americans have enough discretionary income to give out, unlike what we have in our climate here, where even your take home, what we call take home, cannot take you to the bus stop. So if your take home cannot take you to the bus stop, where will you now have the kind of money to give to political parties or to political campaigns?
Now let us look at how this election has sort of, given us a roadmap on how to carry out campaigns going forward. We saw a socially distanced campaign run by the Biden team, and it seems like the Biden team will go ahead to win the election with the numbers that we are seeing. And then we saw, where some other people kind of outspent, the other and still lost, like in North Carolina, for instance, Jamie Harrison, who was trying to oust the incumbent Lindsey Graham, who is a Republican, outspent Lindsey Graham 10-1 and is still lost. In Kentucky, the same thing, they were trying to get Mitch McConnell out and McConnell still remained. And the trend is that demystifying the fact that you don't have to spend so much to oust to try and get into office.
In one word, it is capital no. It has not demystified it.
Okay.
And these are the reasons. We must realize the power of incumbency. These are old foxes that we are talking about. So you need to raise enough. In fact, when you look at the numbers when you look at the numbers, the votes and the numbers, if they have not raised that kind of money, it would have been close. And don't forget, as at this morning, we have 47 members of the Democrats winning. We have 47 for the Republicans. That means, in a way, some Republicans, incumbent Republicans, they've lost their seat.
Yeah.
If we've not had that kind of money to push in, maybe, and the general notion, like we know, is that he that has the money wins the election.
Yeah.
So, in a way, and also, if you are following the trend, in fact, there is going to be 2 reruns because of the closeness. Because of the closeness, there's going to be 2 reruns for the Senate. Comes January because of the closeness. So if they have not gotten this level of money to spend, you understand? Maybe you understand the incumbents, they will have gotten an easy ride. You understand? The Republican will have gotten easy ride. So they needed to raise that money. And also, if you look at the House, you also realize that maybe we are being biased towards Democrats. If you look at the Republican, some incumbent, people holding seats in the House, they have also lost.
Yes.
You understand?
Yeah.
They have also lost. It's because the Republicans, they're pumping much money in those swing states to win those elections.
Yeah.
So the idea that because 1 or 2 people, you understand, they still maintain the power. Then the last point I want to make in this area is that the dynamics of the environment of the place or the state or the congressional district.
Yeah.
Let me just give you an example. It will take a PDP more money to unseat an APC candidate in Lagos State.
True. Very true.
You get it? You understand? If you also look at it from the east, we know a region in this country that it will take, like as big as PDP is, it will take them enough money, enough mobilization, times 10 to unseat an ABGA candidate in a particular region in this country. So it has not demystified that 1 or 2 people lost. It has not really demystified it. So in fact, the more money you make, the more inroad and impact. Let me also say that it's not, fine, election is about winning, but in the risk sense of it, it's not necessarily about winning. You understand? At least, if you lose, imagine somebody that has lost out in this very particular election, he has already made, you understand, a whole lot of impression on people, on electorate come the next 4 years. So you can imagine, you understand, if he has just come out with wishy-washy kind of campaign that is lacking in necessary financial wherewithal, you understand, it will just come, but there is a lot of impression, you understand, like the last governorship election where we have 2, you understand, I think in Florida, and Stacey Adams losing out. You see, you understand, these 2 people has now become more of a force in the democratic because of, the amount of money and energy that went into it. So, to cut the long story short, what we have has not actually demystified that idea that when you have more money, you win elections. Thank you very much.
All right. Now, as things are going, like I mentioned earlier, there's a greater chance that Biden, might be, and we are being cautious here because, because with the way things are going, you never know. Biden might be the next American president. What does a Biden presidency? You are a labor person, a political analyst, a researcher. What does a Biden presidency mean for Nigeria and by extension for Africa?
Well, let's first of all take it from the context of the US, where the show is really happening.
Yeah.
You will discover that the larger percentage, good percentage of the votes that may probably end up getting Biden into office is coming from the black community.
Yeah.
And there is this general notion and sentiment that democratic president that came into power on the platform of the DNC, they tend to be favorably disposed to the concerns of Africa. Let me cite, Jimmy Carter was in Nigeria.
Yes.
You get it?
Yeah.
Bill Clinton was in Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
Obama was not in Nigeria, but he was in some
went to Ghana.
countries of Africa. He went to Ghana, he went to Kenya.
Yeah.
But the present watch, in fact, I'm not going to use the word he used. You understand? Where he referred, you understand, to Africa as a kind of a whole. You understand?
Yeah.
Because of, we're on air, I can't be using that kind of derogatory word. You get it? Where it was alleged that he referred to one of the African presidents as lifeless. You get it?
Yeah.
So we may not be having that kind of rhetoric, that kind of disposition from Democrat president.
Yeah.
You get it? So it, in a way, it portends a good omen in a way, you understand, for Africa. Then also the fact that the running mate of Biden is, you understand, he has is an immigrant, you understand, from India, and I think maybe from another part of, you understand, the globe. So,
her dad is actually Jamaican, and her mom is Indian.
So you understand, all these things, we have a ripple effect on how the policies are. The government policies are geared towards immigration, so you will see that the current watch has immigration policies and laws, and that in itself has transcended, you understand, to outside the walls of US. So if the immigration policies are favorably disposed to outsiders, then it will in a way translate to those outside countries. In a way, I believe that Africa will get a better deal with if Biden comes in. You understand? So that's the way I see it. Africa will tend to get something better, especially with what we have under the current watch.
Yeah. How about the energy sector? The Democrats are pushing more for a shift away from fossil fuels. They want to put, Biden was saying that he will not issue new contracts on fracking, even though America has become fuel independent and fuel sufficient due to fracking. Now, if they push for lesser fossil fuels, and Nigeria, for example, heavily dependent on our fossil fuel, even as an economy, Angola, Ghana is still coming into that space. There's the scramble for Libya oil. Even Saudi Arabia, might not be. But how is that going to play into all of that? We know it's not going to happen overnight, but we know, yes. Yeah. So, what's your response to that? With the Democrats being a little bit averse to the fossil fuel industry, they are moving towards a greener economy, which they say is the fastest growing in terms of job, second to to telecommunications and services.
Yes, let me start this on a kind of a jovial note.
Yeah.
You remember before we had election of 2019, when we had the presidential debate or engagement here, then one of the candidates said he want to dispose of, you understand, of our refineries, our local refineries.
Yes, yeah.
And the people went to town, they took out the substance of what that candidate was saying, and you understand, they make a mess of it. He said he was going to sell it and probably to his friends. They took the friend aspect, leaving the substance of the need to sell it. Now we need to look at, is there need to play down on fossil fuel? The answer is yes. We are polluting the environment. The environment, there are alternatives to this thing. You see, we can be talking about fossil fuel if there are no alternatives. And that's why we call it alternative energy. There are alternatives to this thing. And what are the, when we are growing up, we had this what they call advantage and disadvantage. You understand? Yeah. They will tell us what are the advantages, what are the disadvantages. Have we in good faith sat down to look at what are the advantages, what are the merits of the argument being pushed forward? You understand? And I believe that's one of the reasons why maybe Democrats lost a place like Texas, Florida. You understand? Where you get it,
and even Pennsylvania, where fracking is big.
So you see, people are not really looking at the merit. Some of these people that are pushing for, okay, let's have the oil, and in no time, some of these things are going to dry up. I'm not going to be part of those people that will not align with science. If science is saying in sometimes, in fact, in Nigeria, we have that maybe in the next 5 decades, 10 decades, the oil reserve will dry up. The same thing we go through, you understand, will happen. So what are the alternatives? Must we now allow until the thing dries up that we now start looking for alternatives? And like you rightly noted, the alternatives are producing more jobs. Imagine you have a solar panel, you understand, you develop an engineer from that place, you develop a technician from that place, you understand, so many jobs are being created with this. So, and how many people are being employed? I'm not talking basically, you understand, using it pari passu with what obtains in Nigeria. Yeah. Before, around the 80s and early 90s, the thing is that you want to work in a company. Yeah. It's no longer there. It's no longer there. People, you understand, before it was like, I want to work in the banking sector, you understand, is somehow diminishing because of the internet you have now, you understand. I can do my banking without necessarily to. So we need to look at those alternatives.
I can't remember the last time I walked into a banking hall.
You can imagine. So the same thing will happen. All these things. So we just need to start looking forward. We're not looking forward. We need to start taking that forward steps. We can't just be going back and relying on 1960, 1970 kind of economy. You understand? When was the last time? Many people, you get it. You can see somebody is there in US sending money to me before. You understand this? I remember.
Before you have to wait for someone who is coming so that they'll come and hand you cash.
and you cash. So let's just let us just be sentimental. Don't let's just be unduly partisan about issues. Let's look at the merit of it. And by drilling all these things, we are depleting the earth. We are depleting the stability of the earth. You get it? We hear of landslide, we hear of earthquakes. So you understand? Apart
Hurricanes,
from natural dynamics.
Floods.
Yes, floods. Apart from the natural dynamics, the more you are drilling from the earth, the more you are unsettling the earth. The more you are unsettling the stability of the earth. I know we as scientists will say energy can neither be created nor destroyed.
Not destroyed,
Yes, but if you are taking it from somewhere and you are putting in where it's not naturally fitted, something untoward will happen.
Yeah.
So this bias that because Biden said is going to play down, he laid down, he brought forward an alternative. Why can't we just argue on the alternative? How viable is the alternative that this guy is bringing forward? You understand? Like in Nigeria now, you see, that's why we have, you understand, restlessness, unemployment. You get it? Because many of us went to school wanting to work in oil company, but now the reality has dawned on everybody. In fact, if you look at the statistics of what the oil company is employing, you understand. But we can see the number of, in fact, my 11-year-old child, you understand, is already writing programs. You get it? So that is the new trend. Even myself, during the COVID lockdown, I had to go and learn like about 3-4 softwares as a surveyor. You get it? So what are the alternatives that has been brought forth? What are the arguments for it? Are they viable? Are they visible? And in my estimation, the alternative that is being presented, they are viable and visible. We shouldn't just be unduly sentimental about some issues. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so very much, Mr. Taylor. This has been a very, very engaging, discussion. To your point on our last discussion topic, one comparison I usually like to make is about the recharge card business. There was a time, it was a big industry, people selling recharge cards. There were those who printed it, and there were those there were the middlemen, and then there were those who sold under umbrellas on streets. But all of that seems to have gone away now because you can recharge from your phone, you can recharge, from your app. And there was a time when some people were saying, these are USSD, people are taking jobs away from, those who are selling paper recharge cards. And I was like, some businesses are meant to exist for a time and not forever. It's like saying you want to bring back the coal industry, which were part of the promises that were made to some people. How can you be thinking of bringing back coal in this present day and age?
This 24th century.
And it was sold to some people as, a campaign promise, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Thank you so much, Mr. Taylor. We hope to have you back on the show sometime, for another discussion. We really, really value
thank you very much. But thank you very much. If you just permit me, just 30 seconds.
All right, yeah.
So just make this pattern short.
Okay.
The take home for Africa in all of this is empower your people. The gap between the have-nots and have is too much. And if we are talking about political engagement, civic engagement, we need it at the grassroots, where if people are economically empowered, we won't have political jobbers and money bags hijacking our politics. Hijacking, you understand? Like the scripture says, where your treasure is, there your heart will be. I pay tax in Lagos. I have my tax card. That is why I can be asking Lagos state government what is happening. You understand?
Yeah.
If I have enough discretionary income to give to a political party, I will want to follow bumper to bumper what is happening in the party.
True.
But in a situation where people don't really have money, so the take home for Africa in this is that empower your people economically. Don't weaponize poverty against your people. Because the political class in Africa, in Nigeria, they're weaponizing poverty so that they can have a firm grip on the politics. Imagine if in my ward, I give out 50,000 naira, you understand? I want to know what happened to that 50 naira. I will be able to stand up, you understand? But in a situation where somebody is still struggling to live with 1,000 naira, a family of 4 in a day. So the take home is that African leadership and African people, we must work towards having our economy, and that is the kind of social engagement my platform is on. Make our vote count pre, during, and after. You understand?
Yeah.
So thank you very much. I really appreciate the time. I really appreciate the opportunity, and I really appreciate the platform you have given.
I think at a future date we should have a separate conversation, with you on, make my vote count. I hope you'd, make time for us when that time comes.
Definitely, sir.
All right. Thank you so very much. We have been talking to Mr. Gbenga Taylor, on some of the takeaways from the U.S. presidential election, of which counting is still going on right now. Mr. Taylor is a development policy analyst, a researcher, and a practicing land surveyor. He is also the leader and current program coordinator of a civic engagement platform tagged My Vote Counts.